There is a force in life that few ever come to understand. It is not the loudest voice that commands authority, and it is not the one who argues most convincingly that carries influence. Strangely, it is the one who knows when not to speak, who understands the deep strength of restraint, who wins without raising their voice. Silence, misunderstood by so many as weakness, is in truth a superpower. It is not absence, it is presence we find. It is not emptiness, it is fullness contained. And if you learn how to wield it, silence can transform your relationships, your destiny, and the way you win in life. We live in a generation addicted to noise. Every platform rewards those who speak first, post first, shout the loudest, or broadcast their opinions. The world is flooded with arguments, comparisons, endless displays of striving. But buried beneath this chaos lies a deeper law. True power is never found in endless explanation. It is not found in convincing others with words. It is found in the ability to control yourself when you are tempted to prove yourself. Silence is not passive. It is the most active form of discipline because it demands that you master the urge to justify, to argue, to show, to prove. Think about it. How often have you said something in anger, only to regret it later? How often have you explained yourself endlessly, and yet still felt misunderstood? Words, once released, cannot be retrieved. They can wound relationships, weaken credibility, and scatter influence. Silence, however, preserves dignity. It leaves room for wisdom to breathe. When you hold your tongue, you do not lose the battle, you choose when and how to win it. Silence is one of the most misunderstood qualities in human behavior. Many people mistake silence for weakness, assuming that if someone does not respond quickly, argue loudly, or make their voice the dominant one in the room, they must be powerless. But the truth is the complete opposite. Silence is not weakness, it is strength refined. It is the ability to master one's emotions, to resist the impulse to react, and to maintain control when the world is demanding your words. Think about it, it is far easier to speak than to stay silent. Words flow naturally, often without thought, but silence requires intentional discipline. It is the restraint of a warrior who knows when to act and when to stand still. The greatest battles in life are not always won with composure. Silence is strength because it demonstrates mastery over self. It communicates without uttering a single word that you are not easily provoked, not desperate for approval, and not in need of constant validation. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, you are not losing, rather. You are showing that you cannot be controlled by the emotions or expectations of others. This level of self-control is rare, and it draws respect even from those who misunderstand it. Silence is also strength because it allows you to hear and see more than others. While people rush to fill the air with words, the silent individual gathers information, observes motives, and discerns truth. Silence creates space for wisdom to enter. It gives you the clarity to respond strategically rather than react emotionally. This is why leaders, thinkers, and truly wise people often appear quiet. They understand that power is found in observing, not in constant talking. Ultimately, silence is an inner fortress. It shields you from wasting energy on meaningless debates and protects you from exposing vulnerabilities to those who do not deserve them. When you choose silence, you are not weak, you are declaring that your strength is measured by discipline, not by volume. Silence, therefore, becomes a superpower, because it is not the absence of words, but the presence of strength. Silence is not emptiness. It is the soil in which wisdom grows. In a noisy world where everyone is rushing to speak, to argue, to post, and to prove themselves, silence becomes a rare treasure. It is in silence that the mind has the chance to breathe, to process, and to see beyond the surface of things. Wisdom does not emerge from constant chatter, it emerges from deep reflection, from moments where we are still enough to hear not only what others are saying, but also what life itself is whispering to us. When you embrace silence, you step into a place where distractions fade and clarity rises. The greatest thinkers, philosophers, and leaders throughout history valued silence because it sharpened their ability to see patterns, to recognize truths, and to connect ideas that others overlooked. Without silence, knowledge becomes noise. But with silence, knowledge is refined into wisdom. Silence allows you to listen more deeply, not just to words, but to intentions, emotions, and truths hidden beneath the surface. When others are speaking, your silence gives you the chance to hear what is not being said, to catch the inconsistencies, and to understand the heart of the matter. This is why silence is not passive, it is active listening at its highest level. Furthermore, silence teaches patience. Wisdom is never rushed, and decisions made in haste often carry regret. But when you allow yourself the space of silence before acting, you gain perspective. You see not just the immediate outcome, but the long-term consequences of your choices. Silence slows you down enough to prevent mistakes that come from impulsivity. At its core, silence connects you to your inner voice. In the midst of external noise, the soft voice of intuition is often drowned out. But in silence, you rediscover it. You begin to understand what aligns with your values, what strengthens your purpose, and what leads you closer to the life you are meant to build. That alignment is what transforms ordinary knowledge into profound wisdom. Therefore, silence is not simply an absence of sound, it is the presence of depth. It is the foundation upon which wisdom is built, and without it, even the most intelligent person remains shallow. Embrace silence, and you will begin to see the world and yourself with clearer eyes. One of the most powerful functions of silence is its ability to sharpen focus and build discipline. In a world flooded with distractions, notifications, and constant noise, silence becomes a rare sanctuary where concentration can thrive. When you choose silence, you strip away the unnecessary chatter that pulls your attention in countless directions, and you train your mind to prioritize what truly matters. This is where greatness begins, when all of your energy is funneled into a single purpose without being scattered by noise. Discipline is forged in silence. Think of athletes, artists, writers, and innovators. Their achievements are rarely born in moments of public applause. Instead, they are shaped in the hidden hours of practice, repetition, and dedication, often when no one is watching. Silence provides the atmosphere for this kind of focus. It creates a space where consistency is nurtured and where distractions lose their grip. This is why people who know how to embrace silence often appear unshakable. Their strength has been built in solitude. Silence also teaches you to resist the craving for immediate recognition. Discipline is not about doing something once, it is about showing up repeatedly until results appear. But this requires patience, and patience thrives in silence. Instead of announcing every step or broadcasting every effort, the disciplined person learns to wait, to persevere quietly, and to let the results speak louder than words ever could. Moreover, silence strengthens mental focus by creating a mental boundary. It allows you to shut out unnecessary opinions and external pressure. When you are silent, you can hear your own thoughts more clearly and direct them toward your chosen goal. The scattered mind becomes a focused mind, and the focused mind becomes a powerful force. In silence, you learn the art of consistency. And consistency, more than talent or opportunity, is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Every hour you invest in quiet discipline compounds into results that eventually cannot be ignored. So silence is not inactivity, it is disciplined activity. It is the invisible foundation of mastery. It is where you teach your mind to endure, to focus, and to resist distractions. And once you have trained yourself in this silent discipline, no noise from the outside world can pull you away from your purpose. Silence, when understood correctly, becomes one of the greatest demonstrations of emotional intelligence and self-control. Most people assume power is shown through quick reactions, strong words, or dominant arguments, but in truth, the strongest individual is the one who does not allow emotions to dictate their behavior. Silence is the language of restraint. It is the ability to feel deeply, to be provoked, to experience frustration or anger, yet choose not to be ruled by those emotions. Emotional intelligence begins with awareness, knowing what you feel and why. But mastery is in control, choosing how and when to express those emotions. Silence becomes the bridge between awareness and mastery. Instead of blurting out words that you may regret, silence gives you the space to process, to breathe, and to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. It is a pause that transforms raw emotion into thoughtful response. Self-control is often tested in moments of tension, when someone insults you, when life seems unfair, or when people challenge your worth. Many believe the way to prove strength is to retaliate immediately, to make noise, to defend yourself with words. Yet, silence says more than retaliation ever could. It declares that your worth is not up for debate, and that your emotions are not toys for others to manipulate. Silence also communicates respect both for yourself and for others. By refusing to engage in every argument or emotional battle, you preserve your energy and protect your dignity. You begin to realize that not every situation deserves your words, and not every person deserves access to your emotional energy. This form of self-control creates boundaries that keep you steady, even in chaotic environments. Furthermore, silence allows you to listen more carefully to others. Emotional intelligence is not just about controlling your own emotions, but also about understanding the emotions of those around you. When you are silent, you are able to pick up on tones, expressions, and unspoken feelings that would otherwise go unnoticed. This insight gives you the ability to respond with empathy and precision. In the end, silence is not about suppressing emotions, it is about mastering them. It is about ensuring that your emotions serve your purpose instead of sabotaging it. This quiet strength makes you a leader of yourself and a source of stability for others. True self-control is revealed not in what you say, but in the powerful discipline of what you choose not to say. Silence, at its deepest level, is what builds resilience, the quiet capacity to endure hardship, keep moving forward, and emerge stronger on the other side. Life is not easy, and every one of us will face setbacks, rejections, betrayals, and disappointments. In these moments, it is not noise that carries us through, it is silence. The strength to endure often comes in the unseen hours of reflection, where you gather yourself, heal quietly, and prepare to rise again without broadcasting your struggle to the world. When you face adversity with silence, you train yourself not to rely on external validation for encouragement. Instead, you draw from the well of inner strength. Silence creates space for resilience to grow because it teaches you to rely on faith, consistency, and patience rather than applause. Many give up because they depend on constant feedback. The resilient remain standing because they've learned to keep moving without needing it. Silence also shields you during seasons of growth. Just as seeds grow underground in darkness before breaking through the soil, your strength is forged in silence before it is revealed to the world. This hidden process is essential because it allows you to fail, learn, and recover privately without the pressure of onlookers. Resilience is not developed under the spotlight, it is formed in the quiet battles no one sees. And yet, silence doesn't just build personal resilience, it lays the foundation for lasting impact. Noisy victories often fade as quickly as they appear, but silent, consistent growth creates legacies. When you build in silence, your work is not dependent on momentary excitement, but on deep roots of character, wisdom, and persistence. This is why some people's influence outlives them. They invested silently in the unseen disciplines that eventually bore fruit for generations. Resilience fueled by silence also makes you less reactive to the temporary storms of life. When criticism comes, when failure stares you in the face, silence allows you to absorb the blow, learn from it, and rise again without being broken. You become harder to defeat because you no longer need the noise of the crowd to sustain you. In essence, silence gives resilience a home. It is in silence that strength matures, scars turn into wisdom, and challenges turn into stepping stones for greater impact. Winning silently, therefore, is not just about triumph, it is about becoming unshakable so that your influence endures far beyond the moment. One of the most subtle yet powerful aspects of silence is its ability to protect you from the trap of external validation. In today's culture, we are conditioned to broadcast our every move, every achievement, every small progress, every private moment to gain likes, comments, and applause. But the danger of this constant exposure is that it shifts your motivation from growth to performance, from true progress to pleasing an audience. Silence is the shield that guards you from this trap. When you choose to remain silent about your goals, your struggles, and even your victories, you begin to develop strength that is not dependent on the approval of others. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" you begin asking, "What is truly meaningful to me?" This shift in perspective allows you to focus on genuine growth rather than appearances. Silence breaks the cycle of chasing applause and helps you build a foundation rooted in purpose rather than popularity. Silence also frees you from the vulnerability of premature exposure. When you announce your dreams too early, you invite opinions, doubts, and even sabotage from others who may not share your vision. But when you work silently, you protect your vision during its most fragile stage. Like a seed underground, your growth needs time in darkness before it can withstand the winds and storms of the world. Silence becomes that protective soil. Furthermore, silence retrains your brain to value intrinsic satisfaction. Instead of relying on external applause, you learn to celebrate quiet progress, the small victories that no one else sees. This builds resilience because your motivation no longer crumbles when the crowd is absent. You find joy in discipline, meaning in persistence, and strength in unseen progress. By resisting the urge to broadcast everything, you also preserve your energy. The constant need to explain yourself, to justify your efforts, or to prove your worth to others drains the very strength you need for your journey. Silence saves the energy for the real work, allowing you to focus fully on becoming rather than performing. In the end, silence liberates you from the fragile prison of external validation. It teaches you that true fulfillment does not come from the applause of others, but from the alignment between your actions and your purpose. And once you learn this, you become unstoppable, because your progress is no longer tied to the noise of the world. Silence is not merely the absence of speech, it is a language of its own, a language of power and influence. Often, the most impactful statements are made not with words, but with presence, with restraint, with the deliberate choice to remain still when others expect noise. Silence carries weight because it creates mystery. People are naturally drawn to what they cannot easily read or predict. In this way, silence becomes a silent authority, one that demands respect without ever demanding attention. In relationships, silence often speaks louder than words. A pause in conversation can signal confidence, control, or even disapproval without the need to argue. A person who knows how to use silence wisely can shift dynamics in a room, influence decisions, and command attention simply because their restraint forces others to lean in. Where chatter fills space with clutter, silence creates gravity. This language of silence is also deeply connected to self-respect. When you refuse to explain yourself unnecessarily, when you walk away from pointless arguments, when you decline to overshare, you are communicating that your worth is not dependent on constant justification. You influence others by setting a boundary. I will not be drained by noise. This quiet boundary setting often achieves far more than heated debates or loud defenses. Silence also enhances persuasion. The greatest communicators understand the power of the pause. After a strong statement, silence allows the message to sink in, creating impact that words alone cannot achieve. Similarly, in negotiations or conflicts, silence unsettles those who are desperate for quick answers. It forces others to reveal more than they intended, giving the silent individual the upper hand. Beyond influence over others, silence amplifies your personal authority. It communicates that you are not desperate to be seen, not eager for recognition, and not swayed by public opinion. This quiet strength makes people take notice. Those who shout often go unheard, those who speak less, but with precision are remembered. In essence, silence is an invisible force. It commands attention without seeking it. It influences outcomes without aggression. It builds authority without self-promotion. And when mastered, silence becomes a powerful language, one that communicates dignity, control, and influence beyond what words could ever achieve. True power is often unspoken, and silence is the clearest proof of it. Silence is not just an external act, it is an internal sanctuary where transformation begins. In silence, you create the environment for self-discovery, healing, and growth. Without the constant noise of other people's opinions, expectations, and judgments, you finally hear your own inner voice. This is where true change starts, not in the chaos of the crowd, but in the quietness of the soul. Transformation requires reflection, and reflection requires silence. When you step back from the noise of life, you begin to see patterns in your choices, behaviors, and habits. You notice what is serving you and what is holding you back. Silence provides the clarity to ask deeper questions. Who am I becoming? What is my purpose? Where is my energy being wasted? These questions are not answered in noise, they are answered in stillness. Silence also provides a safe space for healing. The wounds of betrayal, failure, or disappointment often demand immediate expression, but healing rarely happens in public. It happens quietly, in the unseen hours where you process pain without judgment, where you rebuild confidence one thought at a time, where you learn to forgive and release. This is the unseen work, a transformation work that cannot be rushed or displayed, but is nonetheless essential. Furthermore, silence trains you to be comfortable with yourself. Many people fear silence because it forces them to confront their insecurities and hidden doubts. Yet, this confrontation is what transforms weakness into strength. In silence, you learn that you are enough, that you do not need constant approval or external affirmation to validate your worth. You build a deeper relationship with yourself, and from that foundation, all external relationships improve. Inner transformation through silence also aligns you with purpose. Noise often pulls you in countless directions, but silence centers you. It reminds you of what truly matters and strengthens your commitment to pursue it, even when no one is watching. This alignment is what makes silent individuals so powerful. Their actions flow from conviction, not confusion. Ultimately, silence is where the deepest growth happens. It is the unseen soil that nourishes the roots of resilience, wisdom, and purpose. In that space, you are not just surviving, you are becoming. And once transformation takes place in silence, it radiates outward in ways the world cannot ignore. True change begins not in noise, but in the quiet power of silence. Silence, when rightly understood, is far more than the absence of words. It is the presence of strength, wisdom, and transformation. Throughout this journey, we have seen how silence is a discipline, a shield, a teacher, and a source of power that shapes every area of life. It is silence that refines emotional intelligence, sharpens focus, and trains resilience. It is silence that protects us from the endless hunger for validation and gives us the space to hear our own inner voice. The truth is, the world is loud, and everyone is eager to be seen, heard, and applauded. Yet, the ones who rise above are those who learn to master themselves in the quiet places. They do not need to prove their worth with words or constant exposure. Instead, they build in silence, endure in silence, and emerge unshakable, because their strength has been forged in solitude. To win without saying a word is not weakness, it is one of the highest forms of power. It is the ability to let your results speak